It's that time again. One rider drives off while another appears. Kamen Rider Ghost brings a more macabre and eerie theme to the franchise, and its main toy is a perfect example. This is the DX Ghost Driver, as modeled by our faithful assistant, the Ride Bucket. On first glance, you're immediately going to compare it to the Forze driver with its translucent look and handle off to the side, and while the play pattern feels similar, there's distinct differences. The overall style is meant to give it a ghostly, ethereal look with the translucent plastic shell, lightly tinted teal with ripples molded in. On its own, in early photos, it made the driver look very boring, very sparse in detail. Now though, you can see the real effect, with the underlying detail showing through. It's a mechanical maw under the shell, molded in very dark translucent plastic, with very deep and heavy molding. With the central eye and big grinning teeth, it creates a very creepy appearance. For some, this look is going to be off-putting, but I can't help but love it. The outer shell is also a softer plastic, giving it a soft, malleable texture, like it's a coating of ectoplasm or something. Opposite of the handle is where the speaker is, featuring the bright silver paint that most main rider belts love using. It's trimming all around the belt, but this is the only obvious spot it's seen. Beyond that is a bright orange belt strap of unremarkable molding, held together with a circular clasp matching the toy's collectibles. The sharp hit of color brings a Halloween theme to the mix, as well as adding more of the rider's signature color. A button on top springs the front half open, revealing heavy molding inside the belt. Little details like this are cool to me. It's a very mechanical look inside, but the pattern is not only eye-like, but also like a portal to another world. Also worth mentioning, the front half needs to be attached when you unbox it, and can easily be detached again with release buttons on the underside. Future upgrade attachment? We'll see. For now, 3 AAA batteries will get us ready to see what else this thing can do. Now, typically I like to give translations for the belt's phrases during reviews, but this isn't so easy with this belt. As such, I'll be explaining what it's doing with its voice clips as we come to them. And that starts with the collectible gimmick of the toy, especially the main one. This is the Ore icon, spelled as such because puns. Ore literally means I, as in referring to yourself. It's Ghost's own soul. Translating it to the I icon really doesn't work in English, and there's no real substitution that sounds good, so let's just go with the Japanese name. The mechanical eyeball makes one of the creepiest collectibles yet for a rider, and I admit, I'm really into it. By default, you can see the iris and pupil looking through the clear lens in the center, while the button on the side switches between metallic stickers for the icon's logo, the rider, the finisher, and back again. Coloring is simple, representing the form they create, in Ore's case being black, with the translucent element blending into it, creating a more layered look around the edges. All icons feature a label on top to easily ID them as you swap them in and out of the belt while wearing it, and on the back, a QR code taking you to a page on the Ghost website. There's no chip or electronics in the icon, it's all pre-programmed into the belt, using button presses to know what icon is installed. This means you can trick out the noises if you're a cheater. Now let's turn the belt on. Like a lot of recent belts, it reminds you of what it is. With the icon installed, the henshin is activated by pulling the handle, then pushing it back in. This is where I feel like it works better than the Forze driver. A big lever like that, you want to pull to activate, not push. The effect feels more satisfying this way. That's about all I can explain without showing something off, so let's demo. Henshin! Kaigen. Literally, it means eye-opening, but it can also mean a realization or spiritual awakening. Here, it's being used both literally and figuratively. There's a lot going on here, from the different standby noises, the action on the handle, and the icon logo switching. But what really sells it for me is the blink. I'd actually prefer if the plastic for the eyelids was more opaque to hide the icon better, but the effect still works, closing the eye before the switch occurs and opening after. Also like how bright the lights are on this one, illuminating the entire icon really well. It also makes a lot of the internal molding show through. There's like 4 layers of plastic lighting up here. Also worth mentioning, with the label on top, the flat top and bottom, and how the icon is installed, I feel like I'm changing an ink cartridge. Kinda weird, but then again, I am playing with a toy eyeball. Said eyeball is still visible from the top. A gap shows the label to the person wearing the belt. From here, pulling the lever again will activate his finishing blow. Die in this context means large, and in translation, changes the context enough to interpret Kaigan slightly differently. What I like here is we're getting the rainbow LED effect, but the colors are very deliberate. Rather than cycling through carelessly, they change to the beat of the sound effects. There's also an alternate finisher if we cycle through 4 lever pulls. Omedama. The literal meaning is chastise, a harsh scolding, but the kanji also spells out big eyeball. Welcome to Japanese wordplay. At this point, I should mention the belt can't really tell what symbol is on the icon at any given time. You're playing with the honor system here. Ejecting is as simple as hitting the button on top and pulling the icon free. Now, what else can we use here? Luckily, the belt comes with icon number 2. Edison in bright yellow. He literally transforms with the soul of Thomas Edison. These shows are weird. The icon works the same way, except you'll find a number instead of the G logo. Also note the face shown on this icon is light bulb shaped, and other form change icons follow similar themes. Function-wise, it's identical, but of course, new sounds. Never thought I'd get a Kamen Rider toy that gives a history lesson. This belt's speech is hard to follow sometimes. It's following the street fashion motif of the series and sounding a little hip-hop, and as a result the words kind of rush by sometimes. I like the more digital tone of the Edison Soul though. It fits. Again, 1 pull for the first finisher. And then 4 pulls for the second. I do wish that the finisher had a different noise to it, even if it was just a quick electric zap before the explosions, but it's not too uncommon to hear the same finisher sounds. With that, the demos are done. Nothing to do but extract the icon and close it up. And that's why I translate Kaigan as awaken. More than most belts, this one uses a lot of wordplay and relies on its own context for its voice clips, and it adds a lot of character to the toy, hence why I felt like explaining why I translated it the way I did. That said, translating Japanese is always up to interpretation, so forgive me if you feel something else is a better match. That aside, the Ghost Driver itself is a unique beast. The spectral look is unlike any other Rider belt before, despite some familiar traits. The icons are nicely sized and feel good to play with, and the play pattern is very satisfying. I'll leave it to you to judge whether or not it's worth the retail price with just 2 icons included. Like most Rider belts these days, it's basically a starter kit. It's a fun experience to play with, and while I feel the look is going to make or break this toy for most, the ones that dig this mechanical phantom are going to have a good time playing with eyeballs for the next year.